welcome to Top of Mind with Ann and Rachel and special guest Bobby Flay. Just kidding, it's not Bobby Flay, it's just Bobby Small.
You can beat me in the
not
community.
just Bobby Small, it's the Bobby Small. We're going to start out with quick introductions like we always do. My name is Rachel Prophet. I am a white female with long red hair that's pulled back in a ponytail today, and I'm wearing a gray t-shirt with some orange scribbly writing on it, and I'm in my office with my epic sticker wall behind me. As always, I forgot my pronouns are she, her. Ann, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Ann Krupke. I'm a senior fast track solution architect. My pronouns are also she, her. I am a white woman with brown and purple hair that's in a bun today, and I'm wearing the famous by now green sweatshirt that I wear, I guess, every week.
Good. My name is Bobby Small. I go by he, him. I work for Ellipse Solutions, and I'm a community evangelist. I'm a white male with an expansive forehead, and the hair I have is brown, and I've got a beard, which is graying, by the way. People ask how old you are. I say, can't you count the number of gray hairs? That's how you can tell how old I am. There's 55.
Well, and you're always wearing like a suit jacket. So today your suit jacket looks to be like a light gray or purple.
The coloring is not quite right, and I'm in my dining room because I was displaced by a flood last 2 weeks ago in Colorado. We had really bad rain, and my office is in the basement, and the carpet was saturated. Luckily, not a lot of damage other than the carpet, but I am in the dining room, so I've got these crazy orange curtains behind me as my backdrop, and I am wearing a light purple jacket.
You fit in
shirt
with the purple scheme here, so
yeah, I'm
we're all
feeling
about
like
purple.
Yeah, I
we
love
support
purple.
all colors of purple. Honestly, we support all colors. So we
Sure.
don't discriminate against any colors.
I love the prism.
We love the prism. So, Bobby, we have to ask, what is top of mind for you?
Well, I think, for me, I'm still riding the wave of being at a live event. I think that never quite wears off, for at least a week or two once you've left. I mean, I do have some event hangover. If you've been to these bigger events, that's a real thing. The last day is always happy and sad.
Depression. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I need whatever Prozac or helps to solve
depression.
that. So really excited about everything that happened last week. I know, Rachel, you were also at an event, but Ann and I were in Arizona together. Ann, how was the climate shock for you? It was 102 degrees on average in Arizona while we were there. For me, it's a big difference from Colorado.
It was better than Georgia. I don't know, Georgia's so humid that it's just, you feel gross the whole time. And
dry heat.
At least in Arizona, I held on to jet lag and I got up at 5 a.m. to go running most days beforehand, and it was gorgeous. It's just when the sun's out full heat, that was a bit much, but overall I thought it was not as bad as it could have been.
I like when people tell you, it's like, oh, you're talking about, and they this dry heat, it's like, but you're right. I mean, to me, I was like, when you're in the shade or early morning, evening, once the sun clipped down, and even if I was out, we were at that welcome reception, which was outdoors, and the sun was hitting us at a low. It was lower in the afternoon, but still, it was hot, but it just didn't feel like you said. I grew up in the East Coast. I know humidity.
Yeah.
It didn't feel the same. If we'd been a humid climate or like Tampa or anywhere on the East Coast, it would have been awful to be in that kind of heat.
Find out how curly my hair really is.
we were on the coast, literally, right
in
on
Slovenia,
the beach,
right?
In Fortores, Slovenia, for Dynamic Spine. I have my badge here, and I was wondering if we could do the ceremonial hanging of the badge on my. Do
you need some?
Here. So add it.
Some music.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys?
That was like the Olympics.
I was saying, I thought we were going for the graduation, but they're so close.
Pomp and circumstance.
First time I've done this live, so maybe it was a little.
I think if I went to do pomp and circumstance right now, I think I would sing the Olympic theme too. I think that's just for some reason it's stuck in there.
But it was our conference was right on the coast. And so literally where they did our evening reception, you could walk 10 feet that way and be in the sea. And it's not like the US at all where there's any safety measures. We just have a bunch of drunk people out on the boardwalk with no railings, no ropes, no nothing. Luckily, nobody fell in the sea. So
was there a committee member or an organizer just standing by with a a long broom or something to keep people in the right direction. Hey,
honestly,
quadrant 3. They're getting too close to the
I was too busy
boardwalk.
on the dance floor to notice.
Good for you. Good for you.
So, Bobby, what would you say was your biggest takeaway from last week?
For me, I like to see just the fact that the size grew from last year, but the type of event it was very similar, very intimate. A lot of time spent with folks, over the course of those 4 days. That was just meaningful time, and it ran the gamut from partners, ISVs, Microsoft, attendees, Doug folk, just everybody, just having the chance to have a little bit slower moment to sit with them. To me, resonated. Something that I brought back and shared with our team. And me is like, I love that opportunity to feel a little less rushed and enjoy this part of the event for me.
About how many people?
And that was about 600, 650-ish?
Just by the end, the last week bumped up, I think, about 650 is what I heard at the event. Yep.
That's awesome.
And about half of them were first-time attendees, which is great. So
yep.
That is
last
awesome.
year was about 400, so they grew a lot this year.
Yep.
And how many were there at Dynamics?
We had about 450, 500, about.
Wow.
Like, I don't know the exact count, but like about 450 to 500. So pretty good crowd, though. Like, pretty good crowd.
And would you know, I know that this is a new event, so you wouldn't necessarily know, like, everybody to this event was a new user, but I assume there are a lot of people who would have gone to other European events, in prior years. Were there? We're just seeing any of these events. We're seeing an influx of a lot of new users.
Never been to any community
never been to any event, like new to the dynamic space, new to conferences.
I don't know if we collected that information. I'll have to ask about that, but that'd be interesting to know.
I imagine there were people who have been to other EMEA events, but just not.
Yeah,
but
I would say
I'm seeing the opposite.
Probably more partner heavy. There was a lot more partners than there were customers at the EMEA event, but it's still a fantastic event. A lot of sharing going on, a lot of really, really great sessions. I think it was interesting because it was more for me like a halfway blend between like what a Dynamics Con is like and what User Group Summit is like, because they had more sessions like what you would get at a User Group Summit, but fewer users, like, smaller event. Like, so it's kind of like an in-between kind of event, but it was very, very, very good. Lots of really great, amazing sessions. The sense of community there was amazing. I don't know what it was like for you guys in Scottsdale.
Yeah, I think to your point about it was a lot more partners. I think that Dynamics Con saw the same thing in their first and second year. And it's, partners come first. They always come to community spaces first to make sure that it is a safe space to bring their customers. I think we saw that when we started up the Atlanta user group as well. We had a lot of partners the first time, and then the second time we had almost 50-50 partners and end users. And I think, so it's not that surprising to me, I guess, that a first time event's going to have a lot more partners so that they know then that they can bring their customers there.
Yeah. It's good that they take on that role too of kind of supporting it financially from the beginning too, to help these events get off the ground, because otherwise it's tough, like you said, to attract users, and they're certainly not going to be the bulk of the financing. So good partners and ISVs, especially the ones that are in the community that we're in. I find that in our group in F&O, the folks that, most of our speakers were, part of a partner or an ISV, and they come to these events with this education in mind, as opposed to, a sales mindset. So it makes a better event all told. And that's the good kind of the goodness that comes out of it for me. And like you said, the user count for DynCon is on the rise. Like the first event was really partner heavy. Last year was better. This year is again about 50% better even. So that's evening up to a much better user count.
So Bobby, did you have like a favorite session that you went to?
Boy, I wish I could say I got to see a lot of the sessions. I was moderating some. I was running around at other times.
Was it Ann's keynote?
It was Ann's keynote. Was awesome. Yeah, Ann's keynote was awesome. I think that there was a lot of buzz at our table. I was able to piggyback off your keynote. There was a person there who was looking for more learning resources. I just put together a whole PDF on learning resources for our local user group because I felt it was just something that there's so many things out there.
Like available, like that we could share with our viewers right now. That PDF,
yeah.
Is it like at a hyperlink that we can share?
It's not on a hyper. I'm trying to convince our group to put up just a landing page so we can put all these out there and keep them updated so that whenever I'm talking to somebody, I can say, instead of like sending them a PDF, which I have to update statically, something that's a little bit more living and breathing that I can just say, hey, just go to this website. It's going to be your jumping off point.
I'm going to steal it and I'm going to put it on the Guidance Hub. It's going to be
the Guidance. It's going to be meta because the Guidance Hub is in there, so it's going to be like a circular thing going on. It's like I'm at the Guidance Hub, but yeah, right. So,
but I want the Guidance Hub to become the thing.
Oh, sure, yeah, of course, yeah. Right? If we could have one place to send people that just gives them a jumping off point for every learning opportunity that they can get in the community.
Well, I think if you can still share your screen and show us what's on it, I'd love to. Can you
do that?
I surely can. Give me just a second. You guys keep chatting away. I'm gonna pull it up here,
okay.
and then I can share it.
If you've got like a hyperlink for people to download the PDF, like that, we'll take that too.
I don't even have that. I can drop it in the chat. Yeah, I'll get it out there for sure. I'd love to share it. I mean, it's just
put it in the chat. Again, and we can put it on this little bottom thing if you put it in the chat.
You bet. Yeah, mostly it's just a bunch of hyperlinks broken down by different organizations. So I looked at what's available for Doug, what's available for DCI.
I've got a Doug sticker. You're doing that, and while we do this, we're going to do an inaugural ceremonial placement of the Doug sticker onto the sticker wall. Okay.
Do we need to hum more music while we're doing this? Do we need to hum the Olympic theme again?
I always like to do a dry fit before I put.
I love that's better. That's even better. The dark side.
The final countdown.
That's a good one. I gotta be honest. That's a good one.
Yeah. Next time we'll get those in the stream deck so we can actually play this out.
You'll appreciate this
one. But I did not prepare any songs. Sorry.
When we went live with our 2009 upgrade many years ago, the guy I was working with, it was just two of us. We did most of it internally, but we had some partner help. But we on the final week, we were there. We were there every night till late, and we kept playing it was like we're getting close, and this guy I worked with kept playing the final countdown, like just out of his office down the hallway. I'd hear dun 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 till we finally got to the actual final countdown. So, all right, I'm ready to present. I'm just going to click the button, and
and then I'm
going to share a screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 screens. It's going to ask me what screen to share.
Put it up for other people to see it.
Yeah, it'll ask you which screen.
Okay.
There's lots of clicking involved in this process.
I am. I'm at this area where it's asking me to.
It's so that we protect people from.
And boom! Hopefully, you're seeing what should be anatomy of a learner.
There we go.
We're gonna add it to the stream. Oops,
so
I think we both clicked it.
Anatomy
of a learner.
Yep. Part of this. So this is just an old film noir movie that I thought was kind of a fun tie-in. I'm not sold on it. I think if I present it again, I want to do it. I wanted to do it like the inspector from Knives Out, like kind of like a mission, like a mystery of how to solve different ways to learn. And I would get into character, put an ascot on, do the whole now we're going to talk about other ways to learn. Just kind of really get into. But I didn't have the time to do it.
Can you go ahead and just keep using that accent for the rest of your
voice?
presentation,
Yeah, that's my quasi Southern, North Carolina accent.
Are you going to use that at User Group Summit the whole time?
If I was doing this, but maybe, yeah. Is that a challenge? I could take it. Yeah,
that's
just
challenge.
The entire time in character.
Practice, Bobby.
Every time I see one of you can just give me a different character, and I have to just move into that character, right? You put a high sign up. It's like, yep, Irish or whatever. As long as it's not offensive to anybody, I'll do it. This was a presentation I gave just based. Yeah, just kind of. I was my look at like kind of a couple different things, like what led to. We talked about this earlier. Like, why are we seeing so many new people in the user community? And, based on my past experience and new experience at the local level, a lot of people moved on. And so I wanted to touch base on that. So part of it is that just talking through what happened to the subject matter experts you had, how you can go about getting them back, and what you would do to build that subject matter expert up again. So the first part's a little bit about that. And then we get into more of the learning piece, which here's where we get to kind of the guts of what all, kind of all the things we want out there. To learn, where to find, where to keep up to date on release plans, Yammer, Tech Talks, forums, ideation, all these different places that it's not just learning. For me, it was like, here's how I built up my funnel, my stream of information, and how I get this information to my LinkedIn, to my email, and what I do with it after that. Because that's important too. Because if you're not careful, your inbox is full of 1,000 Tech Talks, and how do you manage all this incoming flow? So, setting up rules and all this stuff that come along with that. There's guidance in there now. I put that in after, because I didn't have this, because Rachel previewed it in our user group.
You guys were legit the first to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that so exciting?
That's
why you should join your local user group, because you never know when
who's going to show up and drop serious knowledge.
Like, look at this brand new thing that nobody else knows about. You're the first to know.
I'm sorry. I gotta just can we just pause and talk about this list of LinkedIn people that you have, and how we've got 3 fast track architects, a sales manager, and Charles Lamanna as the examples of people. I'm just happy to be on a list with Charles.
Murray didn't even make the list.
I know.
You can only do so much, and I picked my top of mind people.
I'm in your top 6. Is this like
my top 6? Yeah.
Like MySpace back in the day. I'm in your top.
Right.
Top
top 6, exactly. Yep. So so this is another, funnel of information. Like, how am I learning? I don't know about things sometimes unless I know. And if I've got good connections and I'm curating my information feed, I get good stuff. So this was another piece. Blogs, again, everybody with blogs.
I was blogging before it was cool.
Yeah. And then all the user group information's in here. So I'll definitely share this to you if you can get it out to your community for sure. Yeah. I did touch a bit about you asked earlier about, kind of the different events when we were talking beforehand. And, I think the cool thing about where we are as a community is that we've got 2 really great events that are presenting, similar but different styles and opportunity. And that's exciting for the user community. I mean, when I think about it, it wasn't, like you said, when you asked me, it wasn't even like, I got to dig in and come up with an answer. Like, no, I've got this. I've been feeling this for the last couple of years as these have started to develop, that, you've got this one event, which is providing opportunities and a much different style. And you got another event, which we're used to, which is a totally different, experience, and each person can find their own way through both of them, one of them, so it's just a cool place to be. And then you've got Dynamic Minds for those in EMEA. So you've got, we've got some good stuff going on in the community as far as not just national events, but man, local is just blowing up. I mean, Anne's, helping out in Atlanta. I'm, Rachel and I are here in Colorado building local, and I'm just seeing it feels like every, back to my LinkedIn feed, every other day there's a pop-up about a local meeting somewhere in our community. And so if you're not doing these things to stay connected, you're missing out on some great, knowledge drop, like Rachel, coming, with firsthand, what'd you call it? Exciting,
insider specials.
Insider specials. Yeah. Good. Yeah. You're missing out on all that stuff locally. So.
Yeah. And I for context, I had asked Bobby, because Bobby is actually on the programming committees for both Dynamics user groups, Dynamics Con Live, and for Dynamics Communities Community Summit. So I had asked Bobby kind of, what do you tell people when they ask, how do I know which one to go to? If I can only go to one, how do I pick? And what's the difference between the two? Because they're both US based events.
Yep. And yeah, my first answer is go to both if you can. I mean, make a way that, if you got a big team, could be an opportunity to split them, or, send them both, because they're, you're getting, they're super beneficial. It's not like you talked about before. It's not just a time to get education, but if you're looking for solutions for ISVs, you got everybody there at your hand. You got, and I've been involved in another opportunity where we're getting together and we query the room, and there's a lot of ISVs and partners, and within this room, even though some of them were just starting up, they're just companies that have just begun their journey, or some of them are older, companies that have been doing it for 15 or 20 years. The experience in the room is still the same, and you got the average level of experience in the room was still over 18 years.
Wow.
And that's pretty, and that's the way these events roll. So these folks who are ISVs are there to educate you and be there as a resource. They're at the medic desk. They're at the Ask an Experts. They're there to be a resource. And man, if you're not taking advantage of that, you're missing out.
Yeah, we had, I don't think you were able to attend, but we had a panel, an all people panel to kick off the final day for F&O. And it ended up being a group conversation more so than it was ask the panel questions. And there were lots of partners, ISVs and customers or users in the group. And we talked about everything from what questions should you ask your partners when you're going through partner selection versus, how do you align stakeholders internally when you're implementing? How do you get people to trust each other? How do you do change management? Like, it was this really interesting conversation because you come to these conclusions. It's the same things are hard for everybody, and plot
Right.
twists, they've always been hard. Like, training is hard and testing is hard.
Yep.
But everybody from every background has something valuable to share in terms of how do you do that next bit better.
Yep. Those sessions are some of my favorite. I love that. I mean, getting in a room where once you crack open the chest, and open it up, and people start asking questions, and then like you said, everybody's jumping in and they start to feel their own value in the room. Because I was in the first day, I was in one for technical questions, and it wasn't just, I mean, there were 4 quasi experts sitting up there, in our own rights, but the real magic was happening between the peers who would say, before I could answer, or before Ian or Dan could answer, they were like, oh yeah, no, I did that last year, or here's what we do. And people just take that, they love that feedback from a user. It's like, wow, this, because we're in the ground level together. We're so it has a lot of gravitas. And so it was good to see that kind of activity happening for sure. And good to hear about that happening the last day as well.
Yeah. Rachel, what was the highlight session for you at Dynamics Minds?
It's hard to pick, but I would honestly have to say our keynote was the most memorable keynote I have ever been to. And I don't know if that's because Georg Landschnig and Mike Morton were so uncomfortable and made jokes about each other's height because they were so uncomfortable by the situation, about which ERP was better, like BC versus F&O.
Oh boy. Boy.
I would say, like, I've been to so many keynotes, and like in the moment you're like, oh, that's really cool. Like, they announce whatever they announce and you're like, whatever. But like 3 months later, even 3 days later, I probably couldn't tell you much of what was talked about in that keynote. And I will tell you, I will remember this keynote until the day I die, because that's how unique this keynote was. It was so amazing.
Can we get a replay?
The fog effects, like the magic show, the drummer with the rubber chicken.
Are you making this up?
Donna Sarkis.
She's just riffing now.
No, like they brought her up and gave her a triangle, and she legit did not know how to hold a triangle. She had no idea that this was going to happen. They gave her a triangle to join the band, and she held the triangle like on the side and was like whacking it and couldn't understand why it wouldn't make a noise. And then like the guy who played 2 piccolos from his nose, like this was a thing.
Are you sure this wasn't a dream you had? Like after you you had jet lag dream?
When she says no rules, she means no rules.
By the string, and then you tap the triangle. Like,
Wow.
I will never forget the moment that Donna Sarker learned how to play a triangle.
I'm sure that's exactly how they wanted that to be remembered.
Well, and I'm never going to forget that keynote, and I wasn't even there. You just did such a great job describing it that I've got.
Right.
Oh my
I mean, I want to see it for sure, but at
I
least I've got the.
definitely didn't do enough in my keynote, Bobby. That's what I'm taking away
Well,
from
you
that.
didn't have like a live band with like a comedy show and
Like,
magic. Like there was like a magic show. Like I was like, wow, it was over the top and it was awesome and fun and amazing. And because it was so awesome and fun and amazing, I will never forget it.
Well,
I will probably forget
I'll dress as a rubber
whatever
chicken next time for your
it was
keynote.
that Georg and Mike talked about. It was probably some co-pilot.
Something.
I'll dress as a rubber chicken and play a triangle. I mean, whatever you want, I'm there for you.
All right, Bobby.
Next time I will be there to play a rubber chicken and triangle for you.
Rachel and I know how to open a show. We've done rap, we've done keynote, thank you notes. We've done a lot on the main stage there at these events, so we know how to bring it.
Do you remember the time I rapped on stage with you, Bobby?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, we wrote an ending rap as one of our keynote thank you notes for Microsoft. Yep,
that was
good stuff.
Wow.
Good time.
First of all, wow.
Yeah.
Second of all, also wow. Oh, Rachel, I did tell our joke from our first ever Tech Talk, though. I stood up there and I said,
so like during the keynote you did?
Yeah, I said, listen,
I love that.
I have a rule that Rachel and I implemented that every presentation must start with a joke. And in honor of my first ever keynote, I'm recycling the joke from my first ever Tech Talk. So now we all know what kind of betting accountants use.
And there were giggles and laughter, so it played.
There was also a lot of groans, but
puns get groans. One groan equals 2 giggles in my book. I mean, when it's a pun,
yes.
there's
that's
a
how you know it's
conversion
working.
factor for sure. Yeah, there's a conversion factor.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was a great conference. It sounds like Dynamics Minds was great as well, Rachel. I wish we could all go to everything all the time. But
did they mention? Do they have another one? Are they already planning Dynamic Minds 2024?
They are planning Dynamics Minds for next year. They are not going to plan it during the same dates as Dynamics User Group. It's up in the air what the location is going to be, though. So they're trying to sort out the location, but it will be different dates next year. So. Yeah, they're looking at a different time of year just in general, so that it's not like all up together at the same time.
Kind of find another fall-in spot.
That'll give people even more opportunities that you can go to all three. Like they're really 3 separate times of year.
Yeah, and certainly again it helps support. I know a number of people travel from Europe to come over. We had a speaker from Spain in our group for F&O this year. She was great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it obviously prohibitive, cost wise sometimes and time wise. So nice to have that event over there for folks to, so we can get those folks integrated in the community as well.
Well, with just 2 minutes left, I think my final leaving words for people is, these community events are amazing. And, if you missed out on last week, you don't have to miss out. You can go get signed up and be part of these community forums today. And the next big event is happening in the fall with Dynamics Communities in Charlotte, North Carolina. So go get signed up. I think the early bird pricing ends this week.
Today.
Or is it today? Is it today?
Yeah. I posted about that. Look me up on LinkedIn. You'll find that post. Or search, Community Summit. I'm sure you'll find it, but it is today. So.
Yeah, so early bird pricing is today, but that doesn't mean you still can't get your tickets. But, the early bird pricing with the discounts, summitna.com, great. Thank you for putting that up, Ann. Get signed up. There's all sorts of forums and ways to get involved with your local user groups. So the stuff that Bobby had up on screen earlier, definitely use those resources, and we'll get a link for you guys to share in the chat afterwards as well.
I loved how many of them were Microsoft links. That was great.
Yeah. Any other final closing words, Bobby or Ann?
No, I appreciate being on here, and hopefully we again, I think to echo, get yourself local, start local, get national. You're near some local meetup right now. So, go to meetup.com, look for Dynamics.
And if you don't have one, start one.
You can start one. They're
and
beneficial.
If you need help, reach out. There's people to help you.
Any of us
Yep.
are happy to help.
You bet. Always.
Thanks so much for joining us, Bobby.
Community
Of course,
love.
happy to be here. Yep.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Thank you so much.